Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of Epic Illustrated Magazine. We're up to number 28, February 1985. Start off with a beautiful Mike Kaluta cover. Yet, once again, this has been a practice of Epic the past 10 issues. This is an old piece of Mike Kaluta artwork. This is from a portfolio he did in 1979. I remember seeing ads for this as a kid. I never bought it, but it looked great, and this is beautiful. But this is like the third time they've done that. Just Mike Kaluta's contributed to Epic just by reselling them some old piece of work he did. But, you know, who cares, really? If you don't have that portfolio, if you don't know, you get a great Mike Kaluta cover from his classic era, because the late 70s, Mike Kaluta was firing on all engines, if that's the expression. Contents page, overview of creator contributors, and once again, unfortunately, the Last Galactus story, chapter 3. This is just probably one of the worst serials that Epic's had. It's just annoying. This doesn't belong in Epic, in my not too humble opinion. Basically, Galactus is like talking about how the universe is coming apart at the seams, mentions the Milky Way. Frankie Ray Nova, you know, who grew up on Earth when she was a normal human, she kind of has this little sentimental thing. She wants to go back to Earth. And of course, it's a totally different planet by now. Millions and millions of years have passed. There's no humans left. And Cobalt 60. What are we up to? Chapter 2 or 3 here? And story by Larry Todd, art by Mark Baudet. So Cobalt 60 is riding around on his grasser. And looks like he's attacking this guy. Turns out they're old friends. And it's just a bunch of horseplay. Pretty nice colors, nice cartooning. They see an alien ship with these floating guys in it. And they're having a parlay with the people from Radio City. And at first it looks like they're going to fight. But they kind of make a deal with each other. Okay, continues. Let's yeah, the leader of these aliens is named Cordwainer Big Eye. And they're basically, these aliens are just kind of like scavengers. They just go around trying to find stuff in different planets. And Polonium 210, the prime minister of the Radio City people, he basically tells them, he's like, you know, there's a treasure out there, and we can't get to it. We don't have the technology, but we'll split it with you. We'll show you where it is. So apparently it's some treasure from before the Great War. There was a fierce ogre who commanded a great army of goons. The ogre was named IRS, and his agents hounded people to death for their wealth, which he hoarded to make bombs. So typical post-apocalyptic stuff. They don't really understand what the IRS was. But there's a big treasure there. So it's under some blast crater that's been glassed over, and they don't know how to get to it. Aliens do. They make a deal. They're going into business together. And Cobalt 60, I guess he's got some kind of listening device, so he can hear what they're all saying. So he basically says to his buddy, he just says, hey, you want to make a lot of money? And they're basically going to try to get to the IRS's hoard before the other guys do. This is a complete waste of paper here. The Atlanta Fantasy Fair portfolio. So these are just all amateur artists that were showing their stuff at this science fiction convention. And they highlight the best of them. None of these people went on to do anything as far as I could tell. I didn't recognize any of their names. Some of these guys are pretty good. But still, really, this is just not really Epic's job to show you these crappy new artists. Oh, here's a nice treat. We got another young Cerebus story. So, just such beautiful art. Another wordless comic. A friendly reminder. And if you're a Cerebus fan, I'm pretty sure these color stories have never been reprinted anywhere. Definitely not in color. I've never seen a Cerebus color comic come out. So you got to track these down. So Cerebus breaks down this door. He beats the crap out of some unseen guy. I like these letterings. Smattity, crick, schmuck. Of course, all beautiful backgrounds by Gerhard. Dave Sims, behind the scenes genius. So Cerebus takes all the money out of this guy's pockets. And then it says, next year, file early. So a little trying to be funny there. Cerebus is a tax collector, I guess, in this part of his life. This next comic is Treasure Hunt. So some newcomer, Ron Fontes, at the time, I think this is one of his first comic stories. I guess Archie Goodwin liked his style. Got his assistant editor, Laurie Sutton, to write a story. And it's not very good. This guy, Ron Fontes, is pretty good. I mean, considering this is his first story. He's got a very inky, chunky style of drawing. It's basically these space guys land on a planet. Their captain is a cute little cat. They find some awesome treasure, but then they're attacked by these aliens. And just like the movie Alien, one of the guys they left for dead, he was getting attacked by the aliens. He says, all right, guys, wait for me. I'm all right. I fought him off. But no, he did not. He turns into the alien. The alien took him over, kind of. But he's more benign than the alien's an alien. So he basically just says, I want off this planet. I know where there's some treasure on some other planet, and I'll show you how to get there. Yeah, pretty slight. Not much of a story. Not that great art. But I guess Epic was trying new things, giving newcomers a chance. For example, this guy, Steve Sabella. I don't know what he went on to. Sorry, I didn't look it up, actually. But he's pretty slick. He knows his way around a airbrush and pen and pencil. It's pretty nice art. This guy's walking through this ruined planet. I don't know if it's Earth. And he's in this big spacesuit. He comes to this ziggurat, this pyramid. There's these three, elders protecting it. And he kills them and makes it into the pyramid and he sits in this chair, takes off his helmet, sits in the chair. And then this thing comes down and grabs onto his skull. And I don't know what it does to him. This is very vague, this comic. It's just almost dreamlike. And he wakes up, and grabs his helmet, and goes. And then as he's leaving, we see another guy who looks just like him. And he just says, "Next." And that guy continues out of the pyramid. So just such a typical epic story. Like, ooh, it's like, what the hell's going on? And then it's got like a kind of trying to be funny ending, you know? We got Rick Veitch returning to Epic. And we see this police officer. He's dying. And the priest comes to get his last confession. And he tells him how he killed a kid. So we flash back. Talks about growing up. He was always like a goody two-shoes kid. So he becomes a cop. And he's disgusted by all these graffiti artists. And he really does this, like, takes on a new tactic. He's really tough on the kids. You know, some of the cops will just be like, give kids warnings. This guy beats the crap out of them, takes them into court, makes sure they're prosecuted. So it kind of works for a while. Graffiti lessons in New York City. But then this young tagger comes out named Herpes 2000. And he almost seems like he has almost superhuman powers of graffiti tagging. Like, they leave a train car for like a few hours and he's gotten like every little spot covered. So of course he becomes this like Robin Hood type legend. So, you know, of course this guy's got to get hurt. He wants to get herpes 2000. One night he hears the sound of a spray can. He's near the train yards. And he sees herpes 2000. The kid runs down these tracks. And when the cop goes to follow, he falls. Almost to his death, but he catches himself. And the kid, the tagger, herpes 2000, saves his life. He says, "Here, grab my hand. I'll pull you out." And then as soon as he's pulled out, he grabs him and then says, "Hold it right there." He's still going to arrest him. So the kid breaks away, runs down the tracks, runs right into the path of a train. Is totally killed. And then this guy, basically, his brain can't take it. He has a stroke. A cerebral hemorrhage he has. So the guy's passing on. The priest is basically saying, you know, you didn't want to kill that kid. So his ghost flies off to heaven. And he makes it up to the pearly gates. And St. Peter's there looking at his, book. And I like how it's the comics page. So he's been reading the story we just read to bone up on this guy's life. So it basically says that, he says, you weren't such a bad guy. You're going to get to go to purgatory. But you can't come into heaven now. You got to atone for some things. And, but after this period of atonement, you can enter heaven. And he's like, thank you. And St. Peter says, but to be perfectly honest with you, this place just ain't what it used to be. And there's a herpes 2000 tag. So I guess herpes 2000 is up there, made it to heaven, and is tagging the shit out of it. Here we have another prose story, heavily illustrated. This is another story by Robert Rohde. He wrote about 10 issues ago. I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of, he always writes humorous. His stuff is kind of funny, kind of making fun of fantasy literature. And this, they got Kent Williams to draw it, to paint it. So there's some nice art in here. So this is just basically there's this dragon and there's this sorceress. And supposedly she's been slandering the dragon, so the dragon wants to kill her. Some pretty nice stuff by Kent Williams here. And she tells him, like, I never said that shit. So they're just trying to, like, the powers that be are trying to malign me. They want you to kill me because they don't like either of us. Some of this art isn't so great. Kent Williams would have never painted this just a few years later. He got really good really fast, Kent Williams. I mean, he started off pretty damn good. But, you know, by the mid-'80s, Kent Williams was just flawless. Amazing painter. Yeah, it's just like, to give you an example of Robert Rhodey, like all the characters have kind of funny names, you know. The sorceress is named Wadatees. It's like stuff like that. There was a little kind of entertaining, though. Here we have the latest chapter of Toadswort, the Amplestone, chapter 4. And last issue, we saw young Prince Rupert thrown from the tower heights to his death. And they're at the funeral now. Meanwhile, the king's armies are surrounding the city. Apparently, they do have ill intent, and they're laying siege to the city. We see Waxroth here just fuming in fury. His son has been killed. As far as we know, it looks like he was hurled from the tower, like he didn't just jump himself. Lacknose the wizard, for some reason he wants the artist Sham Shadow to take this silver knife. He's like, take this, you might need this for the salvation of Amplestone itself. So I don't know what he's up to. I don't think we're supposed to yet. Meanwhile, Waxroth is telling Captain Flurry, his leader of all of his troops, they're planning on fighting the king's army. But apparently they found the golem. If you remember last issue, the golem was missing. They found him wandering the castle halls. So he's just going to send 3 men from his army and the golem. Because basically the golem's like an army unto itself. So Waxroth kind of, he's kind of paranoid, but he could be right. He assumes that someone tipped off the king and the same person killed his son. So there's someone in Amplestone who's a traitor. And at the last panel, he says, apprehend the astrologer at once. So he thinks it's Lacknose. For some reason. Maybe he's right. I don't know. We'll find out next issue. But another beautifully drawn chapter of Toadswort to Amplestone by Tim Conrad. Man, look at that. It's really good photo reference art, which usually I don't like. But he makes it work. Here's another waste of pages. It's a preview of Marvel Comics adaptations of the film Dune and 2010. So we do get to see some Bill Sienkiewicz art because he adapted Dune back then. Pretty nice early Bill Sienkiewicz. He got way better after this. And 2010, I guess, is Joe Barney and Larry Hama, inked by Tom Palmer, The Legendary Acre. Yeah, it looks all right. That's pretty nice. Look, totally looks like Roy Scheider. He's good at doing that. But here's probably my favorite thing in the issue. Gedeon Plexus is back by Zoran von Jaka. This is nice. So we start off, Gedeon is got done having sex with the chief, his boss. And she's just telling him, she's like, "You're garbage as a lover." He doesn't even care. And then they hear a siren outside. And it's the private police squadron. And all of a sudden, the cops bust in on their love nest. And Mr. Kolakowski, this guy with these crazy legs, he barges in. And I guess he's old friends with the chief. He's like some bigwig. He's the owner of the Royal City Bank. So apparently one of the branches of his bank has been held up. These 3 bank robbers are in there. They've got his wife as a hostage. And they basically want free passage to the nearest ventilation corridor, through which they will disappear underground forever. So they want this foolproof escape. So he hires them to, put the kibosh on these guys. And I guess there's something in this area under the bank. They can't use guns. It'll make everything explode. It's like the security system. So they take the job. It kind of looks like they have no choice. Kind of strong-armed into taking the job. So basically their plan is to let them think that they've won. They're like, okay, you can go to the ventilation shafts. But they're waiting in there. So once they get to the ventilation shafts, they're going to kill them. So Kolakowski even joins them. He wants to be in on this. And they have all these primitive weapons. He has a crossbow because they can't use laser guns. And they attack the bad guys. And one of them is going to get the slip on Kolakowski. And his wife just totally chops his head off. But they did get away with, I guess there's some super rare sperm of a religious leader that was in the bank. The Magoos. I guess they worship Magoo. I don't know who that is. I doubt it's Mr. Magoo, because he never made sperm. So basically, Gedeon Plexus is too clever for this guy. And he realizes that this whole thing was a plan by this Kolakowski guy and his wife. And the cops are like, you wanted the sperm for yourself to rejuvenate yourself. God, these colors are just so like Mobius. God, really nice stuff. And I guess Gedeon has the sperm. He found it. And he just throws it off of his flying bicycle. And a truck runs over it. I don't know why he did that. He could have made millions of dollars. But I guess Gedeon Plexus is a trickster. He doesn't really care about anything except having a good time. I just want to say, I should have mentioned this. The colors are by someone named, oh shit, my French is terrible, like Chagnod, if you were saying it in dialect. Chagnod, I don't know. But it's nice colors. But man, I love Gedeon Plexus. I'm pretty sure this is the last story we get from Gedeon Plexus ever. He never continued this, the Jaka. And that's it for epic number 28. Pretty damn nice issue. Mainly just because I love Gedeon Plexus so much. Some crappy filler. We got to have another chapter of Galactus. But, getting a full-colored Cerebus story, that's pretty nice. And Gedeon Plexus. And Toad Swart, all good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it half as much as I did. And I hope to see you here next time at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.